Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishwapad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Shatashi Shamadas Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishwapad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Shatashi Shamadas Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopikopina Shamakun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Yamunamai Ki Jai Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, entitled Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 24, chanting this song sung by Lord Shiva, text 30. We are reading this verse and discussing this verse in purport because today is the auspicious day of Shiva-ratri. So that's why. So if everybody could please repeat after me. Ata Bhagavata Yuyam Priyaha Sta Bhagavan Kita Na Mad Bhagavatanam Cha Prayan Anyo Sti Kahachit Ata Bhagavata Yuyam Priyasta Bhagavanyata Namad Bhagavatanam Cha Prayan Anyosti Karchit Atta Bhagavatayuyam Priyasta Bhagavanyata Namad Bhagavatanam Cha Prayam Anyosti Karchit Atta Bhagavatayuyam Priyasta Bhagavanyata Namad Bhagavatanam Cha Prayam Anyosti Karchit Would you like to try? You don't have to, but okay. No, you're doing good. Prasta Bhagavanyata Mad Bhagavatanam Cha Priya Manyosti Karchit. Nice. Okay, so word by word, please repeat after me. Atta, therefore, Bhagavataha, devotees, Yuyam, all of you, Priyaha, very dear to me, Sta, you are, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yata, as, Na, neither, Mat, than me, Bhagavatanam, of the devotees, Cha, also, Prayan, very dear, Ananya, others, Asti, there is, Karchit, at any time. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. You are all devotees of the Lord, and as such I appreciate that you are as respectable as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. I know in this way that the devotees also respect me, and that I am dear to them. Thus no one can be as dear to the devotees as I am. Purport. It is said, Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu. Lord Shiva is the best of all devotees. Therefore, all devotees of Lord Krishna are also devotees of Lord Shiva. In Vrindavan, there is Lord Shiva's temple called Gopeshwar. The gopis used to worship not only Lord Shiva but Katyayani, or Durga, as well. But their aim was to attain the favor of Lord Krishna. A devotee of Lord Krishna does not disrespect Lord Shiva, but worships Lord Shiva as the most exalted devotee of Lord Krishna. Consequently, whenever a devotee worships Lord Shiva, he prays to Lord Shiva to achieve the favor of Krishna. And he does not request material profit. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 20, it is said that generally people worship demigods for some material profit. Kaimais tas tar hitjnana. Driven by material lust, they worship demigods, but a devotee never does so, for he is never driven by material lust. That is the difference between a devotee's disrespect for Lord Shiva, That is the difference between a devotee's respect for Lord Shiva and an asura's respect for him. The asura worships Lord Shiva, takes some benediction from him, misuses the benediction, and ultimately is killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who awards him liberation. So asura means like demon. Because Lord Shiva is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he loves all the devotees of the Supreme Lord. Lord Shiva told the Prachetas that because they were devotees of the Lord, he loved them very much. Lord Shiva was not kind and merciful only to the Prachetas. Anyone who is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very dear to Lord Shiva. Not only are the devotees dear to Lord Shiva, but he respects them as much as he respects the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, devotees of the Supreme Lord also worship Lord Shiva as the most dear devotee of Lord Krishna. They do not worship him as a separate personality of Godhead. It is stated in the list of nam aparads, offenses to chanting the holy names, that it is an offense to think that the chanting of the name of Hari, Krishna, and the chanting of Hara or Shiva are the same. The devotees must also know that Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that Lord Shiva is his devotee. A devotee should be offered respect on the level of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and sometimes even more respect. Indeed, Lord Ram, the Personality of Godhead himself, sometimes worshipped Lord Shiva. If a devotee is worshipped by the Lord, why should a devotee not be worshipped by other devotees on the same level with the Lord? This is the conclusion. From this verse, it appears that Lord Shiva blesses the asuras simply for the sake of formality. Actually, he loves one who is devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Vijnanativedantasya Gyananjana Shalaka Chakshulanmalitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karidvachalam Pangam Langaite Girim Yakripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Tiritarinam Vansha Kapadirvishta Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivastikam Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, I'll read the translation again. You are all devotees of the Lord, and as such, I appreciate that you are as respectable as the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. I know in this way that the devotees also respect me, and that I am dear to them. Thus, no one can be as dear to the devotees as I am. So this is, again, Shiva-ratri, the day of Lord Shiva. He's speaking to the Prachetas. So, the Prachetas were these great devotees, great sages, and they were performing these austerities, undergoing this, you could say, difficult meditation procedure, you could say. And then Shiva came to offer benedictions to them, offer blessings to these Prachetas. And the Prachetas, they didn't want anything material. They wanted to get closer to Krishna, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so Lord Shiva blessed them, that you could get closer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And here it's saying, the verse and the purport is explaining that because the Prachetas were devotees, Lord Shiva had a lot of respect for them, so much respect for them, love for them. And he's saying here, Lord Shiva, is that I appreciate that you are as respectable as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Lord Shiva is respecting these Prachetas because they're great devotees on the same level as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's also saying, Lord Shiva is saying here that devotees of Krishna, they also respect me. They also respect me. And he's saying that no one can be as dear to the devotees as I am. So Lord Shiva is also very dear to the devotees. He's saying that, and he is. And we see that sometimes the asuras, or say demoniac class, they worship Lord Shiva for material benefit, for material opulence. And a great example of this is Ravana. So of course the whole history, but Ramchandra, the personality of Godhead, with his wife Sita, there's a whole account in the Ramayana, in that they were banished to the forest, and then while they're out in the forest, Ravana, this great demon, he came and he captured Sita, Ramchandra's wife, personality of Godhead's wife. And Ravana was stealing her to enjoy her. Of course, he wasn't able to do that. But this is the mentality of the demoniac, that they want to take God's property, or what belongs to God, what belongs to Krishna, enjoy it selfishly. So Shiva, he sometimes gives benedictions to such personalities, and therefore another one of his names is Ashutosh, right? Easily pleased. He's also easily angered, right? Yeah. So here also in the purport, Prabhupada says that it's an important point here. Because Lord Shiva is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's a great devotee of Krishna, he loves all the devotees of the Supreme Lord. So this is a way in which we could, if we were to, you could say gauge our advancement in Krishna consciousness, is that how much appreciation, how much affection, how much love, how much respect do we have for the other Vaishnavas. And it says, because Lord Shiva is a great devotee, he loves all the devotees of the Supreme Lord. It doesn't say, oh, well, he loves this devotee, doesn't love that devotee, he loves all of them. So this is a way to could gauge our advancement. And here also it says that Prabhupada makes a point in the purport that there are 10 offenses to the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. So every morning, we should be. Now every morning, Bhakti Yoga practitioners or followers of Krishna, devotees of Krishna, they're chanting every day on their beads. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. About 2 hours every day, at least. Chant more. And in that process of chanting, there's 10 offenses, which we won't go through now, but one of them, Prabhupada states in the purport, is to think that the names of any demigod is equal to or independent of the names of Krishna. So in other words, to think that a demigod is greater than Krishna, that's an offense. And to think that chanting the name of a demigod is just as good as chanting the name of Krishna, that's an offense. We had one bhakta here. He would chant Hare Krishna, and he would also chant Om Shivaya Namaha. Now I don't know what his conception was, but anyways. Maybe he didn't think it was great or equal, but he had some attachment to Lord Shiva. Which is good if it's proper attachment. In India, there was quite a famous magazine, Illustrated Weekly, in India, and it was like on the equivalent of that magazine, Time magazine, how popular it was at the time. And there was one editor, Kushwant Singh, and he published an article, and the article was an article dealing with a debate between one Austrian scholar who went to India and he became a monk, a sannyasi, in personal line, Shankaracharya's line, and his name was Egananda Bharati. So this Kushwant Singh, he published this article, and the debate was between Egananda Bharati and Hridayananda Das Goswami. and the debate was Egananda Bharati was saying, or Bharati, we'll just call him Bharati from now. Bharati was saying that Shiva is supreme. Just chant Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. Shiva is supreme. And Hridayananda Das Goswami was saying, no, Krishna is supreme. Chant Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So that was the debate. And Kushwant Singh, apparently, my spiritual teacher, His Holiness Giraj Swami, he saw this article, and from the article, Kushwant Singh's article, it seemed that Kushwant Singh was saying, oh, look how silly these two are. Look how silly Hridayananda Das Goswami and Bharati are. They're fighting like children. Oh, who's supreme? Shiva, Krishna. Yeah, who's supreme? What should we chant? Krishna or Krishna or Shiva? So, my spiritual teacher, he wrote Srila Prabhupada a letter, and he explained how Kushwant Singh was trying to make fun of this debate between Bharati and Hridayananda Das Goswami. So then Srila Prabhupada wrote back to my spiritual teacher, and he said, I agree with Giriraj. Bharati is a fool. No, excuse me. Egananda is a fool, Bharati is a fool, but Singh is a demon. Because Bharati, he's saying he's a fool because he didn't understand that Krishna is not equal to Shiva, the chanting of Krishna's name. So he's a fool in that sense. And Singh is a demon, not because, and demon doesn't mean, okay, they have 10 heads and, big fangs or something. Demon, actually, if you look in because sometimes, devotees, they use this word, demon. Prabhupada used this word, demon. On a side note, my spiritual master was giving a talk in Los Angeles, and he was explaining how Mr. Nair, he was this person who tried to really harass the devotees, the Hare Krishnas, when they're in India, and anyways, so many things. But my spiritual master was explaining how this Mr. Nair was a demon. And then after the talk, one devotee came up to my spiritual master and said, I usually don't really like when devotees use that word demon. But during this talk, I agree, Mr. Nair was a demon, But if you look it up in the dictionary, I don't know if it's Oxford Dictionary recently, but demon, it means, I better remember what it means. Okay. Hopefully it's what I have in mind. Here we have a mic for you.
an evil spirit, a person who has a lot of energy or enthusiasm.
Interesting.
For Maya, obviously. Something that causes a person to have a lot of trouble or unhappiness. That would be it, you know.
Someone who causes a lot of people. Something or someone who causes a lot of trouble. Yeah. So a demon. Or you could say that one who's against one who's against the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, one who's against God, demon. So he's saying Singh is like that. Prabhupada agreed. He was quite a famous guy, actually, Kushwant Singh. Anyways. So, also here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions how Ramchandra, he worshipped Lord Shiva. Now, some people, they take this as evidence. Oh, here we go. Ramchandra, he worshipped Lord Shiva. That means Shiva is greater. It means that he's the supreme. And so is this a contradiction? Well, we see that there's many times where Krishna or Ramchandra, they worship their devotees in such an opulent way, just like we have Sudama Vipra, the Brahmin, the great devotee, coming to see Lord Krishna. Krishna, he sat him down on his own bed, and he offered him incense and a lamp and nice food and nice words, and he glorified him and worshipped him, washed his feet. So he worshipped his devotee. So does that mean that Sudama Vipra is supreme? Means God? No, he's a devotee. But sometimes Krishna does that. So similarly, Ramchandra, he worshipped Lord Shiva. So that's there. And then there's in this purport Prabhupada saying that Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu, that Shiva is the greatest devotee of Krishna. Now, what makes one a great devotee? And you could say, what's a reason, or perhaps a main reason, why Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee? Because he is extremely merciful, most merciful. In that the demigods, it's a whole pastime in the Bhagavatam, the demigods and the demons, they're churning the ocean of milk. There's an ocean of milk. They're churning an ocean of milk. And while they're churning that ocean of milk, what happens? A bunch of poison comes out, right? And there's a threat that this poison is going to expand into an ocean, just kill everyone in the universe. So there's a big threat there. So the demigods, they go to Lord Narayan, and they go, what should we do? And Lord Narayan says, you go to Lord Shiva, he'll help you. So, of course, Narayan, Krishna, he could have solved the problem himself. But, as we know, Krishna, he likes to glorify his devotees. So he said, okay, go to Shiva, and he'll take care of it. So they went to Shiva, Lord Shiva, and what happened? We hear, we'll read here in another place in the Bhagavatam. What happened? This is Canto 8, Chapter 7, Lord Shiva Saves the Universe, text 39. People in general, being bewildered by the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are always engaged in animosity toward one another. But devotees, even at the risk of their own temporary lives, try to save them. My dear, so this is Shiva speaking to his wife. This is Canto 8, Chapter 7, starting with text 39, and the chapter is Lord Shiva Saves the Universe, 8, 7, 39. Now we're 40. So this is Shiva speaking to his wife. My dear gentle wife, Bhavani, when one performs benevolent activities for others, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is very pleased. And when the Lord is pleased, I am also pleased, along with all other living creatures. Therefore let me drink this poison. For all the living entities may thus become happy because of me. Srila Sukadeva Goswami continued, after informing Bhavani in this way, Lord Shiva began to drink the poison. And Bhavani, who knew perfectly well the capabilities of Lord Shiva, gave her permission to do so. Thereafter, Lord Shiva, who is dedicated to auspicious, benevolent work for humanity, compassionately took the whole quantity of poison in his palm and drank it. As if in defamation, the poison born from the ocean of milk manifested its potency by marking Lord Shiva's neck with a bluish line. That line, however, is now accepted as an ornament of the Lord. So the name is, does anyone remember the name? Yeah, Nilakanta means blue throat. It is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. This is considered the highest method of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart. So he accepted that poison to save everyone. So it says save the universe here. So we following Lord Shiva, we should also be merciful to others. Means try to give spiritual life to them, give Krishna consciousness to them, spiritual knowledge to them, book distribution, distributing transcendental books, Harinam, whatever it is. Try to chanting publicly, trying to help people spiritually. And the best example for us to follow in this regard is our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. Very so merciful, ocean of mercy. And I'll just read here. It's because it's very telling for us. So Prabhupada was in San Francisco, and this displays some of Srila Prabhupada's mercy. Prabhupada was in San Francisco, and he was walking with one of his disciples, Mukunda, as well as a few others. And they were going to a program, going to a gathering, so he could speak there. So it was in the 60s then, and it was in San Francisco, Haight-Ashbury, so things were quite wild, especially coming from Srila Prabhupada, coming from India. It's just completely different culture, and it will explain here. So Mukunda says, I walked in silence next to the Swami, near a few devotees. It was 7 o'clock. I thought the whole scene before us must appear very decadent to the Swami, and very degraded. And I didn't know what to say about it to him. Finally I said, it's a beautiful night. The Swami scrutinized the street sellers, looked at passing smokers and bongo players, people with painted faces and wild, brightly colored costumes. He appeared to smell the air, taking in the burning odor of marijuana and the sharp, putrid stench of alcohol, which was tempered by the fragrance of roses and carnations. He turned, smiling, and said, everything is beautiful. I was surprised because I thought the Swami would perceive this streetscape as being debauched and disgusting. Is that how you said? Debauched? Yeah. And disgusting. But as we walked in companionable silence, I realized that the Swami actually liked to be surrounded by people. After all, he had grown up in India, one of the most densely populated countries in the world. More than this, though, I thought that the Swami perceived Krishna in this place. Many of these people were genuine seekers, eager for knowledge, ripe and ready for Krishna consciousness. I remember the Swami saying earlier in his San Francisco visit that hippies embraced detachment, and that was their qualification. There was no good or bad from the pure angle of vision. Everything and everyone in every part of creation was Krishna's energy. And because the Swami was in touch with that energy, he saw this beauty. The people were beautiful because they were all potential devotees. Everything was beautiful because everything was connected to Krishna. So then it goes on, and they make it to the storefront where he's going to speak. And then this guy, oh yeah, come on back. They're all waiting for you. The meditation room was constructed of 4 Indian patterned bedspreads hung at right angles to form 4 walls at the back of the store. Ron pulled back one of the walls. Through the thick smoke, I could see 5 people sitting erect in lotus posture with their eyes closed. 2 young women who were lying on their backs, passed out cold. Good preaching program, huh? And 2 huge black men lying on their sides, puffing on large pipes of hash. The 2 men were both bearded and had scars on their faces, arms, and hands. Just go in and start, Jay said. They've been waiting for you. I thought this was something of a misnomer. The people in this quasi-opium den didn't look like they were waiting for anyone. But we went in and sat cross-legged on the stain-pocked carpet, the Swami in the middle and the rest of us on either side of him. Those who were conscious looked at us hazily through half-closed eyes. The smoke was overwhelmingly strong, but the unmistakable stench of unwashed bodies remained like the active ingredient of some kind of obscene perfume. The meditators' clothes all looked unwashed, their hands and feet grimy, their hair greasy. I looked upward, trying to avoid eye contact, and saw the shop's black ceiling above us. The Swami took out his hand cymbals and began to chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He chanted for half an hour, and everyone who was awake in the meditation room responded. The sound of the chanting drew more people into the meditation room, and soon the small space was packed. At the end of the chant, the devotees bowed down on the floor while the Swami said prayers in Sanskrit. No one else bowed down. I noticed cigarette burns in the carpet as I sat up. So it goes on. So Prabhupada was understanding, cultural context. Swamis in India, there was a perception that just crossing the ocean and coming to America, they're considered to become fallen, or they wouldn't do it because mixing with these types of people. But Srila Prabhupada, he crossed the ocean and he went right into the heart of this. So very merciful, most merciful. So just a few more things. Shiva, his appearance is, you could say, extraordinary in terms of how a devotee usually looks. Why? Because Lord Shiva, his body is covered with ashes. And where are these ashes from? From the crematorium. But I've heard, and I'll maybe confirm, but that these, which makes sense, but these ashes are not just ashes of, the ashes are the ashes of devotees' bodies, so it's purifying. And then he has a snake, which is said to be, right, expansion of Anantadev, right? And then, but his appearance is yeah, Ganges coming into the river. So his appearance is quite peculiar, and Lord Shiva being in charge of the mode of ignorance, this, you could say, dark mode, where those, lower spirits and all these type of, ghosts and all these, that's what the mode they're situated in. We could say that this appearance of Lord Shiva is another aspect of his mercy, in the sense that the lower spirits and all they're attracted to those types of things, right? Crematoriums and all these different. Just like, for example, there's a saying, like attracts like. So there's one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, students, Sridhar Swami. He used to be really quite rough. They'd say one of his pleasure pastimes, he would go out, to downtown, and he'd wait for the drunk men to come out, and he would beat them up. Yeah, before he was a devotee. This was before he joined the Hare Krishna movement, so he wouldn't do that. Before he was a devotee, he would go out to these places, beat them up, these drunk guys, take their wallet or whatever. And, that was him and his friends' activities. So, anyways, when Sridhar Swami, before he joined the Hare Krishna movement, he went to San Francisco, and he saw a Hare Krishna person, with the robes and the tilak and the, had a book table. They were selling books and posters. So then this, whatever his name was before, he walks up to him, to this devotee, and he sees this picture. It's a picture of Krishna. And then this, he goes, "What's that?" He asks the devotee, the Hare Krishna person, "What's that?" And then the devotee, he says, "Oh, that's God." And this, being a little rough, he said, "Oh, well, what would you do if I got that picture and I just ripped it up right in front of you?" So then the devotee, surprisingly, said to this, he said, "Oh, well, I'd have to kill you." And then Sridhar Swami, before he's like, "Well, these guys are pretty cool. These are my type of people. I can relate here. So in relation to that, Shiva and his followers, he's trying to elevate them. It's a gradual. We could offer. We should offer our respects to Lord Shiva. This is Shiva-ratri, which I asked a few devotees, but it's not exactly clear. Ratri means night, but apparently it's not the appearance day or the birthday, or it's not the appearance day of Shiva, but it's, It's marriage? Oh, okay, there we go. It's the day he married Parvati. Okay, well, hopefully it's right. So we could pray to Lord Shiva. We should pray and ask him to help us, right, attain the mercy of Krishna, just like he gave the benedictions to Prachetas, and try to follow him in the sense of being merciful, being kind. Of course, we don't. He drank a whole ocean of poison, but in our own small way, we could try to follow him and being merciful. So, does anybody have any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna. This is the prayer called the Shivastikam, written by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's recorded in a book by Murari Gupta called Chaitanya Charita. And if you allow me, I'm just going to read one Sanskrit verse and I'll read the 8 English verses. It shouldn't take more than 3-4 minutes.
Please.
How to pray to Lord Shiva. How we should pray. So it goes so like this. Namo namaste to Desheshwaraya Bhutarinataya Madoya Nityam Ganga Tarango to the Bhava Chandra Chudaya Godi Nayanotsavaya. I perpetually offer obeisance unto you, the Lord of the 30 primal Devas. This is the Lord Shiva, who are the original father of created beings, whose character is gracious, upon whose head, which is crested by the sickle moon, the Ganges springs, and who are a festival for the eyes of Gauri, the fair goddess. That's his name for Parvati. I offer my obeisance to you, who resemble a moon of molten gold, who are dressed in garments colored like a group of budding blue lotuses or lustrous rain clouds, and who bestow the most desirable boon to your devotees by your delightful dancing, who offer shelter to those who seek to become one with the transcendental effulgence of Godhead, and whose flag bears the image of the bull. I offer my obeisance to you, who dispel darkness with your 3 eyes, the moon, the sun, and fire, and thus cause auspiciousness for all the living entities of the universe, and whose potency easily defeats thousands of moons and suns. I offer my obeisance to you, whose form is brilliantly illuminated by the jewels of Anantadev, the king of snakes, who possess divine potencies and are clothed in a tiger skin, who stand in the midst of 1,000-petaled lotus, and whose 2 arms are adorned by lustrous bangles. I offer my obeisance to you, who bestow happiness to your servitors as you pour upon them the liquid nectar flowing from your reddish lotus feet, upon which charming anchor bells ring. Obeisance unto you, who are adorned by an abundance of gems. Please endow me today with pure love for Lord Hari. O Sri Rama, O Govinda, O Mukunda, O Shauri, O Sri Krishna, O Narayan, O Vasudeva. These are all names of God. I offer my obeisances unto you, Sri Shiva, who are the monarch ruling over all the bee-like devotees who are mad to drink the nectar of these and other innumerable names of Hari, and who thus destroy all grief. I offer respectful obeisance to you, Sri Shiva, who are forever inquired of confidentially by Sri Narada and other great sages, who very easily bestow boons on them, who bestow the happiness of Hari Bhakti to those who seek boons of you, and who thereby create auspiciousness, and are thus the guru of everyone. I offer obeisances to you, who are a festival of auspiciousness for the eyes of glory, and who are the Lord of her life energy, who bestow rasa, and who are expert in forever singing songs with eagerness about the pastimes of Lord Govinda. A person who lovingly hears with rapt attention this wonderful eightfold prayer to Lord Shiva can quickly gain Shri Krishna Prema, as well as transcendental knowledge, the realization of that knowledge, and unprecedented devotional potency.
Jai. Isn't it Lord Shiva? He also wrote this. What is it? Radha Kripa Taksh. Yeah. You wanna? Here, can you speak into the mic, please?
Which is a request or a prayer to be blessed by the merciful sidelong glance of Srimati Radharani.
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
Very potent. You chant it every day, right?
I was up. It was up there, and my spiritual master during Kartik. We would recite that every evening. So it was very, yeah. Hopefully, I get another chance to do that in his association. All right. Does anybody have any other comments or questions? Okay, Mr. Mike. How do you worship Lord Shiva? Does any other devotees have anything? Want me to? When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Krishna come again 500 years ago, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was traveling through South India, and he would visit these different temples of Lord Shiva. He chanted this, yes. Yeah. So, but the conception that, of course, he had, and that devotees have, as Srila Prabhupada explained in the first purport we read, is that, yeah, he's the greatest Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. So, devotees, as Prabhupada says, they're also devotees of Lord Shiva. Devotees of Krishna are also devotees of Lord Shiva. So, the way in which we worship Shiva is that we are seeking his blessings to help us get closer to Krishna, just like this wonderful Ashtaka that Javita Prabhu shared with us. It's glorifying him as a person and his different glories and his appearance and his different characteristics, and but as at least one of those lines he read is that he's praying, please bless me with pure love for Krishna. So just like the worship of Katyayani, as Prabhupada mentions also in the first purport, Lord Durga. There's many worshippers of Durga or Katyayani, this demigoddess. Even in America now, it's right starting to worship more Durga. Yoga studios. So, but why are they worshipping Durga? Why are they worshipping Katyayani? So the gopis, these greatest devotees of Krishna, these young girls, they're worshipping Katyayani or Durga, say, oh, please make Krishna our husband, right? Please make Krishna our husband. That's what they're praying for. They're praying to get closer to Krishna. They're not praying that, oh, please, give me lots of money, or right, give me lots of fame, and a lot of Durga worshippers, a lot of Shiva worshippers are praying for that. It's all within the temporary realm. They're praying for things in the temporary realm, which give temporary happiness. So we could worship Shiva, or the way we worship Shiva is that we could chant, nice ashtakas like Devotee Prabhu has, but on the other hand, so anyways, that's a few ideas. So okay, Devotee Prabhu has 2 of his hands up over there. So
the next verse in the Bhagavatam, after the one we read,
yes,
is all about, he's speaking, Lord Shiva, he was there and he met the prachetas on their way to perform austerity so that they would become progenitors. They're ready to
populate
the universe. And their father is none other than Prachanabhari, who we've been reading about all this time. He was busy. So, what was that? That was 30 and 31. I can have it here. He said, now I'm going to chant for you one very nice song. The title of this chapter is the Song of Shiva. And that song is there's a lot of philosophy in there, and he's explaining, but basically he starts praying, "Oh Lord," he's asking Krishna, "please appear to me in your most attractive form of Shyamasundar." Sundar. So if you want to worship Shiva, we don't have a separate program for worshiping Lord Shiva. But in the course of reading the Bhagavatam, you'll find this wonderful song of Lord Shiva, which is completely a devotional song. And he's praying to see the lotus feet of the Lord and so many different things. And Prabhupada's, in the explanation of the purports, gives us so much nice information. So if you're really interested in worshiping Lord Shiva, then spend a day or two studying that section, that chapter of the Bhagavatam. That'll do it.
All right. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai.